everybody. It's Becky, and today I'm bringing you a special episode. Emma and I recorded this a couple of weeks ago, and this past weekend we had a chance to go to Chicago to the Vector Marketing Cutco year-end banquet, and she was honored there with a an award for being one of the top salespeople in her district. And so, anyways, I just wanted to touch base because this group of kids that was at the year-end banquet for the Central Region, they were electric. They were great kids, and it's amazing. And when Emma took her letter, or her excuse letter to her professors before she left, she got a response from one of the professors that he said, well, you really should stay in class instead because I'm afraid for you. I've done my research on this company and their pyramid scheme. And it was so disappointing for me to hear that because a pyramid scheme just is about recruiting more people and not about selling any products. And I'll tell you, after attending the year-end banquet, like these kids are not in a pyramid scheme. This is a legit business that is pouring into our young people and getting them like leaps and bounds ahead of other young people, ahead of most adults, training them about sales and marketing and growth mindset and so many things that we talk about on here, and in all aspects of their life, not only in business but also health, wellness, spirituality. I was super impressed with this organization, and by all means, like if any kid is out there looking for a part-time job when they're a college kid, really do need to check out Vector Marketing. And it's a great way to earn a living as a college kid. I mean, there was one kid, he literally made $150,000 last year with a part-time gig as a college kid. Like, where can kids do that? So I was ready to sign up after hearing that. It was crazy. But anyways, long story short, I hope you enjoy this interview with Emma. Gives us a little insight to some of the stuff that these kids do and exposed to. And it's pretty neat stuff. So okay. Hey everybody, it is Becky Pearson with Pivot Point of View, and today I have the great honor of having Miss Emma Pearson, the one and only, the college girl, changing lives, selling knives. And so we are going to talk today about all the great things that she has been learning over the last year, well, all your life, really, but really has the stuff that you've learned since starting with Cutco has probably transformed your life. Wouldn't you agree?
I would have to agree, Mother.
Awesome. Okay. So, first let's first talk about what got you interested in Cutco. Why did you start that? And then where do we go from there?
So, what got me interested in Cutco was Abby Stallbomber posted an Instagram story and said, looking for work, flexible hours, $21 base pay, and work remotely. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I messaged her and I was like, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm selling Cutco. And I was like the knives? And she goes, yeah, the knives. And I was like, oh my God, my mom's had Cutco for forever. And um, we I got scheduled for an interview in like February. Um, and I didn't get scheduled for training until May. And that is really, really crazy because most people that don't get scheduled for a training until May when there's like a 3 month break, it's they're most likely not going to show up to training, especially with this type of job. And so it's really funny. Tyler, my manager now, called me the day before, and I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember that. I was like, I don't really think I have anything going on this weekend. And I was like, well, I'm really going to hurt this guy's feelings if I don't show up to training because he was just so excited and he just seemed so happy that I was going to be there. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna hurt his feelings if I don't show up. And after day one of training, I was like, oh, I've got this job in the bag. It's so easy. Um, and there's times where it's been challenging, and I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's very simple to me, and it's not a hard task for me to do. Um, and sales is very daunting to many people. Is very slimy to many people, but many people don't understand they're selling they're a product every day, if not themselves every day. Everything that we do in life is sales. Whether you are in the medical world or you are the car salesman, everything we do in life is sales. So, an example within the medical world is I'm going to actively help this patient seek treatment, even though it's going to cost them money. Why should they seek treatment? Because they have X, Y, and Z. You just sold that person why they need that treatment, right? Um, Mister, you need an x-ray? Why? Why do I need an x-ray? It's going to cost me however much money because it looks like you could have a broken collarbone, which is going to result in a painful future. So everything you do in life is sales, whether you realize it or not, because the world functions on time and money. And so you have to understand that whatever you do, you are selling something, whether you're in the sales industry or not.
Yep, absolutely. Like that was probably one of the hardest things when I opened my PT clinic was to really sell people on physical therapy. I mean, we know it's a great thing. We know we can help people, but just like you said, like you feel like if you are asking people to invest in themselves, like sometimes you just feel like you're kind of a slimy, used car salesman. And so you have to really reframe your mindset on they have a problem or they wouldn't have come to me and I have a solution. And so I just have to give them the information for them to make the best decision possible.
And all sales is not a salesperson. You are a buying assistant. When someone goes to sell a horse, they're not selling you that horse. They're making sure, or a good person who sells a horse is making sure it's a good fit, is making sure everyone understands all that the maintenance the horse may have, or maybe there's some issues there, the issues that the horse may have. You are assisting that person in buying a horse. You are not selling a horse. So I am assisting someone who is buying knives. I'm not selling knives. So they might have very crappy knives that are falling apart from Walmart, and they see this, it's going to last forever. I am assisting them in that buying process.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that you bring up the whole selling horses kind of thing because, as we've known for many years, we've bought and sold a lot of horses. And the best experiences that we've had have been people that just lay out everything on the table. Like, here's what this horse is. This is, these are the issues, these are the great things and then providing that support and that customer service afterwards, making sure that we're getting along well with that horse, just really everybody's transparent. If you have a good product, so if you have a good horse, like you're going to believe in that horse and you're going to want it to be in the best hands it possibly can be in. Mhm.
Correct. And the reason people don't like selling horses is because they either don't believe in that horse or they don't believe in the person buying the horse. And neither are good. Neither are a good situation. If you're selling a horse because of your own frustrations and things like that, that's not a good deal to go into because you know you're not going to believe in what you're selling. And if you don't believe in the person buying the horse because they don't have the right qualifications to meet that horse's needs or whatever, you should be 100% honest with them of what is going on and why don't meet your criteria as an assistant in
Mhm.
selling a horse. Because you are, like I said, you're not selling a horse. Selling is slimy, things like that. You are assisting people in buying a product or a horse.
Mhm. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that if if you tell somebody that you have reservations because they're not at that level that that horse needs, it doesn't mean that they can't get to that level, but you have to have that conversation with them about here's what this horse needs.
Hmm.
And if you're willing to work at getting to that level, then that's great. You know, you can rise to that horse. But if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to do the care on one that has maintenance issues, then you're not the person for this horse. And I think people get really caught up with not saying those things because they just need the money. Like they're in a bind and they need to get that horse moved. And once you just really look at where does this horse need to be more so than, oh my goodness, I need the money, then I think you're going to make much better decisions that you feel good about.
Hmm.
And that's going to be better for everybody involved.
Hmm. Yes, I agree. It's something that everyone always says, "Oh, I hate selling horses." And I don't love selling horses. Like I don't love what I'm going to go through selling Patron, but it's not because it won't be to someone that I don't trust. So
Mhm.
that horse is only going to go to someone that meets my criteria.
Mhm.
So that you just have to set requirements and standards.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And believe in the product that you're selling.
Believe in the product that you're selling.
Yeah. And if you don't believe in it, like you got to be honest with whoever you're selling it to, you know, like
The
it,
price should reflect. If you
mhm.
don't believe in that horse, the price should reflect because your confidence will also reflect. So if Joe Blow is selling a horse because that horse runs up the fence with it every time with Joe. And um that horse is running up the fence every time. That person needs to be honest about what's going on before the next person buys it. And if they are
Mhm.
not, that is on the person selling.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, we kind of got off on a rabbit hole, but I like where we went with this. Like, like you said, all of life is sales. And so, whether you're selling a product, selling an animal, selling yourself to a mate or at a job interview, you have to learn how to sell no
Hmm.
matter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so many people, this is so painful. There's so many more people that are smarter than me. There's so many people that are have way more intelligence than I do, but I can carry myself better and that will get me further because they
Mhm.
don't know how to talk to people and they can't read people because they're so programmed to be a robot that
Mhm.
they can't even function. Oh, is this person liking what I'm saying? Is this person understanding what I'm getting at? Like they have to be able to read people in a way and be emotionally aware enough themselves to understand the person you're talking to. And so at the beginning of all my demos, I now ask someone, um, and it's like if you've done a demo with me recently, you'll probably laugh. I asked them, what is a piece of life advice that you would give to a 20-year-old going out into the real world? The reason I ask that is I can pretty much tell how the demo is going to go right after I ask that question, right? So there's so many ways that um, you need to learn people in order to be successful in reading people. Because sales is reading people. Like if I ask that question and someone says, "Oh, take risks, have fun," great. They're going to be a great customer. You know why? Because they're going to take the risk and buy the product. Awesome. If there's someone that says, "Oh, find a good job, play it safe," they're going to be a terrible customer. They're me, like they aren't going to buy the product from me. If they do, they're going to buy like one knife. So there's so many ways that you can read people, and those are the two things that I hear all the time, right? I'll
Mhm.
take the risk and stay school, play it safe.
Mhm. Mhm.
Can tell exactly how the demo's gonna go.
Yeah. What do you think I would tell you?
Um, who knows? Um, my you as my mother, I think if Abby Stahlbaumer were to have done a demo with you and she would have asked that, I think you would have said something like take the risks, because you are a risk taker, and you would say something like do all the things. You definitely would not have said play it safe.
No, no.
So,
Life will pass you by playing it safe. And yeah, you might fall down, you might stumble, but man, when it works out, it is freaking amazing. Yeah.
those are my top tier customers.
Yeah, cool. All right.
So, yes.
So
But
yeah, so tell me, so you went through your training and what do you think is like one of the hardest things that, people, so lots of kids go through their training and they get started and then a lot of them drop off because why? And what makes you different that made you stick with it from them kids?
their fears, they let their fear and anxiety of talking to people, um, especially after their fast start. So after your fast start, you're pretty much done talking to anyone that you know, using your connections or anything like that. You're pretty much done with that. And so I actually was done with it before my fast start.
Mhm.
So, um, before my fast start ended, and I had to start calling people within the recommendations list before it ended, which was
Mhm.
probably a really great thing because then I was already comfortable with it by the time I was done with my fast start. So a fast start is the first 10 days of your job. Um, Unlike a 10K fast start, you sell 10,000 within 10 days is like the um, goal. That's something that everyone is trying to hit. And I sold 11,000 within 10 days. And because I was just willing to call everyone. I was willing to talk to anyone. I didn't care if they didn't want to buy a knife from me. I was willing to talk to everyone
Mhm.
because I was willing to get the experience of hearing the word no. So it's the fear of rejection, and I was willing to take the risk that um, not everyone was even going to agree to a demo, right? So it all comes down to the fear of hearing no, which think about it like this. I've probably heard no over 200 times now,
Mhm.
like whether it's phoning or in a demo,
Mhm.
and now I'm at 55,000 in sales. within 6 months. So, doing all these other things around it. So, the fear of hearing no is something that you should be excited for. It sucks in the moment hearing the
Mhm.
word no, or I have to think about it. And if you'll learn eventually that all these things are smoke screens that you just read into. Um, the fear of hearing no, that's why most people stay in a dead end job because they're scared to get rejected and fail. So it's the
Mhm.
fear of failure.
Yeah. And, it's been inspirational to me, Emma, to watch you through this process because um, people that have listened to our podcast, um, they'll know recently that I sold my PT business and now I am going all in on Pivot Point, equine and rider rehab. And so, like, yeah, if I was afraid of hearing no, like I'd sit here in my house and I wouldn't reach out to anybody. I wouldn't try to go to different events. I wouldn't be just getting myself out there. But I'm like, dang it, Emma can call all these strangers and
Yeah.
she can book these demos and get them to buy $1,000 knife sets, multiple $1,000 knife sets. And so like if she can do it, I can do it. And so it's been really great for me to see that. And so, you're inspirational to me as well. So I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. But it all comes with the fear of failure. So that is something that you have to understand. You need to fail as fast as possible because that's the only way to get through it, right?
Yeah.
The shortcut is the hard way. But
Mhm.
everyone wants the shortcut. The shortcut is going to take you longer over a longer amount of time because you're constantly trying to do those. You're never fully finishing, you're never fully committing, you're never. And so you've laughed at me and you've always told me all in or all out it can be such a bad thing, but it actually can be such a great thing because when I commit to something, I'm failing as fast as possible and then I'm off, right? Like, so, when I'm all into something, I'm all into something, and I think you know that. And,
Yes.
um, but you need to fail as fast as possible, and you need to commit fully to the process. And so that leads into I'm very proud of all of you that have committed doing 75 hard and are working out twice a day because you're failing as fast as you possibly can, and you're starting to reflect upon the actions that you're doing and the things that you could have done better. So I think that's really cool that you guys are doing that as a group, and it'll be interesting to watch the people that are going to fall off after 3 weeks. So that is normally the mark if people are going to fall off. They'll fall off at after 21 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really good for me to have the accountability with our group. So we have a private group, 75 hard with Pivot Point. It is not, I did not coin it. The 75 hard is the Andy Frisella deal, and it's an awesome program. And I'm doing it for the mental discipline. Like I know that that's been my drawback in life up to this point is the discipline. I have had motivation, lots of motivation throughout my life, and motivation, it didn't you say you're going to write a book that's like fuck motivation or something like that?
Yes, so that leads us to my. I actually really strongly dislike the word motivation, because I'm someone that one of the best compliments I ever got was 2 days ago, and Tyler said I live my life with no excuses, right? So someone who is full of motivation lives in a world of excuses. Um, someone who is full of discipline sees those excuses, hears those excuses, and does it anyway, right?
Mhm.
So I hate the word motivation because motivation goes up and down and up and down and up and down, right? So especially through this last push period, there were times I sold $20,000 and there was a day that I had only sold $92. There was a day in there. And so throughout 14 days, there were multiple days that I only sold 90 to $500. And that compared to $20,000.
Mhm.
So that's pretty crazy. So um you have to understand the day after those days, you know how motivated I was feeling to sell?
Mhm.
Not feeling motivated, right?
Right. Right.
How motivated I was to make phone calls after I sold $90 in one day, right? And that $90 that day that I sold $90 was actually the 11th. My push ended on the 13th. And on the 11th, I had sold, let's see here, it would have been about $12,000. And then on the 12th, I had a $3,000 day. And then on the 13th, the last day of my push, I had a $5,000 day.
Mhm.
So you go from a $90 day to a $3,000 day to a $5,000 day. That's quite the difference, right? But it wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have kept phoning and calling people and talking people on that $90 day, right? Because $90 does not add up to 20,000. It's the consistent effort. And um, I'm someone who loves to exercise. I'm someone who loves to work out. Um, I'm someone who loves to get up in the morning. But
Mhm.
you'll learn that the people that are night owls, they are very easily morning people as well. So I am a morning person. I was not always a morning person. Morning people, um, when you become a morning person, you'll learn there's an immense amount of peace in the mornings. It's the quietest time of day. You get addicted to the peace in the mornings because you can reflect upon your thoughts, you can reflect upon your actions. No one's going to text, call, email you, nothing at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning when you're at the gym.
Mhm.
No one will. Whether you're at the gym or not, you'll learn that no one will bother you. And you have to, but do I get up every morning and say, "Oh, I'm just so excited to go to the gym"? No. Like, I don't say that. There's actually a lot of times where I'm like, "Oh, I'd love to hit the snooze button. Oh, I'd love to just sleep in." No, like
Mhm.
I say that probably I go to the gym 6 days a week. I probably say that to myself 4 days a week, right? So two
Mhm.
days I have motivation to go to the
Mhm.
gym.
Mhm.
But 6 days, I have the discipline to go to the gym.
I agree. And, I want to jump back just a little bit, after having that $90 day and then the 3,000 and the 5,000, like, you know, if you're not in direct sales, like I was just thinking about myself, like, so some days you get somebody in physical therapy or, in your business or whatever that maybe isn't 100% happy with what you've done. And then to overcome that mindset, you can let it deflate you and totally get you off track. And maybe I didn't do the best job. Maybe this person started to hurt more after they started my exercise program. Maybe I didn't choose the exact right program for them, and I could let it just deflate me. And and tell myself that story of, oh, you're no good, you shouldn't be doing this, you should just go get a job at the hospital or something like that, or just go see more nursing home patients. And but it's the figure out what you need to do differently to change that, and don't let it totally derail your whole mindset. And that again comes back to that discipline of getting your mind right in the mornings, that first thing in the morning. How are you going to set your intention for the day and not let yesterday derail you? Same thing happens when we're on our horses. Like you can go out and have a bad freaking run and you can let that totally deflate you and totally derail your stuff. But, how many times have we heard, the most successful people in rodeo are the ones that have short memory? I think that's probably very similar if you're talking about your job, your business, your sales. Like you can't let yesterday beat you down. You're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall. But, if you're still there on the ground a week later, 20 days later, 3 months later, like
Correct.
that's
Just
on
keep
you.
going up.
Yeah, shit's gonna happen in life. You're gonna screw up. You're gonna stumble, but you gotta get up and, like you said, fail fast. So fall, fail, get yourself back up quickly.
Yes. And so that's exactly why I hate the word motivation, because how motivated do you feel after you failed 5 times?
Not very, no,
None. You feel nothing. There's no dopamine there. There's none.
no.
And so it's the mental strength, mental discipline
Mhm.
to say, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to get back up and I'm going to show you I failed as fast as possible, as hard as I possibly could, but do you have the mental strength to get back up? And when you practice discipline, it's like a muscle. So the when you're practicing discipline, when you're not practicing discipline, it's very weak and it's very hard to start to practice discipline. When you are practicing discipline, it feels weird to not practice discipline, right? It's muscle. It is a muscle that you work every single day practicing discipline. Am I disciplined in my health? Am I disciplined in my faith? Am I disciplined in um, my exercise habits? Am I disciplined at my job? So, because you'll learn once you become more disciplined in one area, all other areas you get more discipline. Because you know what? You're working that muscle in one area, and you're like, why am I not working it here? Why am I not working it here? Why am I not working it here? And it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger until it becomes a habit.
I agree. Yeah. And the only way you get better at it is by practicing it. I mean, it's like anything else. Like you don't get better riding your horse if you never ride your horse. You aren't going to get better at discipline if you never discipline yourself. It's not going to just magically appear one day to you
Yes.
that you're all of a sudden disciplined. No, you have to practice just like any other task, sport. If you want more discipline, you have to practice
Correct.
discipline.
Correct. That's something, like I said, it's like a muscle. And it's going to be sore. That
Mhm.
muscle's going to get sore too. Because you're going to say, oh, dang, I've had 6 days of eating clean. On the seventh, I'm going to go get cold stone.
Mhm.
No, that's not how it. That's not how it is. Like,
Mhm.
um, that muscle does get sore. That muscle gets sore a year into it. That muscle gets sore all of the time. And so, like, you can't think that once you start and you're a year in, 5 years, 10 years in, that it still won't get sore. Like, it's still gonna get sore all the time,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
It's like we still get sore at the gym a year
Yep.
later.
Yep.
I still have soreness all the time.
Yeah.
So I hate the word motivation. Like, oh my God. So if everyone took the word I don't feel the motivation to go to the gym today. No, I don't have the discipline to go to the gym today. If you replaced the word motivation with discipline, think about how much better you would be mentally. And this leads to my next thing. So in the world of stress and anxiety, and all these people are fighting these demons of anxiety, and they're just so overwhelmed and so stressed. Our life legitimately has never been easier than it is today.
Mhm.
You and I don't have to drive to have this conversation. You and I can call each other from the phones. We don't have to, our lives have never been easier than they are today, and they just continue to get easier and easier and easier and easier. The reason we have stress and anxiety is because we feed ourselves with lies. We feed ourselves with lies every day as to why we're not doing the things that we know that we should.
Mhm.
So if you have stress and anxiety, you are feeding yourself with lies because you know you should be doing certain things, but you continue not to do them. And you
Mhm.
justify it in your head every single day. The busiest people I know, one of the busiest people that I know is one of the happiest people I have ever met.
Mhm.
But they're also someone that gets up at 5 a.m. They're also someone that works out daily. They're also someone that studies their faith daily. They don't make excuses. And I some of the busiest people I know scroll on their phones 8 hours a day. That doesn't add up. That they're not busy. So
They tell you they're busy.
some of
Mhm.
the busiest people I know scroll on their phones 8 hours a day,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. No.
So
And then
so
they tell you that they can't do stuff because they're too busy, and that's bullshit. Yeah.
correct. So stress and anxiety is created from feeding yourself lies. I want to stress that. Feeding yourself lies and telling yourself, justifying the things that you're doing, even though you know you should be doing different things, such as working out. I don't have time to work out. Great. What time are you waking up? I'm waking up at 6:30. Perfect. You can wake up at 5 o'clock, get an hour workout in. You'll still have the same amount of time to do the rest of the things. Okay. So yeah, I don't have time to go to church. Oh, okay. So what are you doing Saturday night at 6 o'clock?
Mhm.
Oh, well, I'm just sitting in my recliner. Oh, perfect. You can go to the church service then. I don't have time to learn about things financially. Okay, how often are you on the road? Oh, perfect. You have time to listen to a financial podcast? That's awesome. Like, so you have to understand it is not about you Jeff Bezos and I have the same 24 hours.
Mhm.
It's not the things that we're doing, it's the choices that we make in order to do the things that we do.
Yeah. But because, like you said earlier, everything is so easy, easy to access, easy to, like our life is easy, which has made us soft and undisciplined. And we're so easily distracted by social media, by, just trying to do whatever is the easiest and the feel good things that makes us undisciplined. It makes us soft. It makes us it just makes us a bunch of weedies.
Mhm.
Really.
Yeah, yeah. And so life has never been easier, yet there has never been such talk about anxiety and stress and self-care. You know what the best form of self-care is? To go take care of yourself. Go to the gym. That's the best form of self-care.
Mhm.
You'll learn a lot more about yourself than going and getting a facial.
Mhm.
I'm not saying don't go get those things. Go get those things after you've worked hard taking care of yourself.
Amen.
Yeah. So I am life has never been easier and we have never been softer. And there's a reason the coin Karen has come into play because the Karens are known to complain and to um, be annoying. That's everyone now. No one's afraid to complain anymore.
Mhm.
No one's, but everyone's afraid to fail. Everyone's afraid to work. Why are we outsourcing all of our manual labor jobs? Why are people coming up from Mexico? Like that's never happened before. Everyone's afraid to work. Everyone's afraid to fail.
Mhm. Yeah, it is I think once we realize that and we start to push ourselves to do better, we will do better. And I'm really hoping that um the tide is turning. I
I
really,
really hope so too.
yeah, I think more awareness of this kind of thing. I think the more we can, I mean, just impress upon the people around us that, the only way things are going to get better is if you create situations to make them better. You are not going to get anywhere by sitting back, whining and bitching about your circumstances. Okay. You, I'm, I have a very strong faith and I can pray to God that my situation changes, but how God answers that is by telling me what I need to do to change it. And so, like, you have to you have to listen to what he wants and you have to do it. Like you can manifest things by praying and putting it out there in the universe, but you can't just then go and eat a sandwich afterwards. Like you have
Yeah.
to take
And
action.
God is not a genie in a bottle. God is not someone that you throw a penny in and make a wish. God, may I have strength, and God gives you a situation in which challenges you to give you strength. God's never going to give you something that you can't handle.
Right.
So, God is someone, like I said, He's not a make-a-wish. He's not
Mhm.
the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he is not a genie in a bottle. He is someone that is going to give you experiences to challenge you and to help you better yourself. And so, Mom and I actually went through an exercise, and many people do a gratitude list. And this morning, I said to Mom, I said, I know you do a gratitude list daily. What I would like to do with you today, is write down three experiences you are grateful for and why.
Mhm.
So, like, that's something that I challenge many of your listeners to do. Don't write down three things that you're grateful for. I mean, that's awesome. I'm glad that you're grateful for those things. And I do gratitude daily, and a lot of times it's things. Um, but every once in a while, why am I grateful for these experiences? Because the experiences are the things that make you who you are. It's not the things, right?
Mhm.
So, be grateful for your car. Be grateful for your pickup. Be grateful for your horses. But that's not who makes you who you are, right?
Yeah.
The experiences that you have had leading up to this point have shaped you into who you are.
Yeah. And being grateful for the challenges, of the three things that I wrote down. Some people could look at two of them as being bad experiences, like so the three things that I wrote down, one of those three experiences was my marriage. And so, some people after going through a divorce are going to think that the marriage was, they're going to look at it as this horrible, horrible thing. But I'm so very grateful for it because it gave me you guys, you and your sister, I mean, two wonderful kids. It gave me my discipline and my motivation, my resiliency to overcoming difficult situations. It really helped me find my strength and my power. And so you just have to reframe some of those experiences that can be thought of as negative experiences. And you know what? You survived it, you lived through it, and it made you a better person. It made you grow. It made you who you are today. And so, the God bless the broken road that got me to this point. I mean, that is 100% true. Like, would I, if I had to do it over again, would I do it over again? Like, yes. Would I do exactly everything the same? No, I would change some things, but I don't regret the marriage because of the great kids that I got and because of the development that happened inside of me because of it.
Hmm. And so that is something that many people don't even reflect upon. Like, so, I have a divorce. Oh, that's a failed marriage.
Mhm.
Okay, so like, why is it a failed marriage?
Mhm.
Like, you, the problem that we have is no one is emotionally aware enough to reflect upon their actions or the things that have happened to them. And you'll also learn that the losers, it's what happened to them. The winners, what did they do? What did they create?
Mhm.
So there's two very different mindsets there.
Yeah,
Happened to me. Like, what happened to me? Oh, I got a divorce. That happened to me. No,
right.
I I created an opportunity in a different um area for me to go live
Mhm.
without the person that was making me feel bad. That without the person that was making me feel um toxic inside. That why I created a opportunity somewhere else. I created an opportunity by leaving this situation. How do we create opportunities out of every situation, right? Like, so that's something that many people don't have the mindset of. How am I
Mhm.
going to create this? How am I going to create that? This, okay, something might have happened to you. Very few times, though, something actually happens to you.
Right.
Very few times. Because we look at it, oh, this happened to me. No, most of the time you could actually control the situation and avoid that happening to you.
Mhm.
But you have to understand that if something truly has happened to you, what opportunity are you going to create from that situation?
Absolutely. And that's, life is really only about 10% of what happens to you. And it's really 90% of what you do with that, and so our circumstances, um, some things are out of your control, but how you react to it are 100% within your control. And so, it doesn't take very long to look down the road and see somebody that's in a worse situation than you and realize that you have things pretty dang good. It's
Yeah,
not as bad as what you think. And you just really have to reframe your mindset on um okay, how am I going to grow through this? I have to go through it either way. And so how am I going to grow through it instead of just, letting it defeat me and deflate me and
correct, correct. Like, so one of my favorite quotes is John Maxwell. Our background and influences, or our background and our circumstances may influence who we are, but we are responsible for who we become. That will always be one of my favorite quotes. Because the reason I say that, Gracie and I were given a lot of opportunity, but we are still responsible for the people we become, right? So a lot of people looked at Gracie and I growing up, and they could have called us spoon-fed or spoiled, or I mean, the whole list of things, right? They could have called us many things. And it's not that we weren't called those things. We were called those things. And, but those people that were calling us those things, calling those names, etc., they were also responsible for the things that they became. And so what are they becoming when they say those things, right? They're not becoming any better than us. They're not doing, they're not, by knocking us down, they're not putting themselves above us. No, like they're not doing that, right? And
Mhm.
so, um, I mean, you've had Sonya Walls on here. You've had Sonya and Kylie, those and Kinsey. That's a great situation as well, right? They're very similar. Like they've created a huge I I don't want to say empire, but they've created a huge name for themselves, the Walls family has, and they've also
Mhm.
had a target on their back, right? So when you have a target on your back in those situations, people are always going to come for you. The better you are, the more they're coming for you. And the more they're coming for you, that's great. You're doing something right. Like that means you're like Kylie's a world champion, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And Kylie broke so many records that year. Like I don't know. I was a senior, so it would have been 2023. She was a junior.
Mhm.
And so she did all these amazing things, but so many people couldn't even see that. They can't even see that. When you're doing all these great things, all they see is what they aren't doing,
Mhm.
right? What
Mhm.
happens when you're kicking butt is not they no one sees what you're doing. They see what they aren't doing. So when you're growing and you're kicking butt and you're doing all these things, you're growing as an individual. The faster you grow, and this is why you lose people as you're growing. The faster you grow, it's like holding up to a mirror to someone and saying, "Why aren't you growing? Why aren't you growing? Why aren't you growing? Why aren't you growing?" And it just keeps getting faster and faster and faster until they don't even like who you are. Like
Mhm.
they don't like who you are. You love who you're becoming, but they don't like who you are becoming, right?
Mhm.
Because they don't see that.
Okay, so when a person has a growth mindset and those around you do not, and you're friends with them or you're in a relationship with them, and you find yourself growing and others aren't, that can create a lot of distance and tension in that friendship, in that relationship. And so, like, so you being a 19-year-old girl and you are a growth mindset. And how many other 19-year-olds have a growth mindset, do you find?
Um, Very few in Hays, Kansas, I can tell you that. Um, Hays, Kansas is also known as a very large party school. It's ranked within the top 10 in the nation for, along with Alabama, UNL, Texas, things like that. So yes, very few in Hays, Kansas. Um, but the first time I had experienced it, especially on a large scale, is when I got to go to Cutco. Like, that's the first time experience. And it's an abundance mindset. It's an abundance mindset. It's not how am I going it's an abundance. How am I going to create all of these opportunities? How am I going to create abundant opportunities for myself? And so the first time I experienced it, you know, it's an intoxicating feeling, right? Once you experience it, you just get like once you find people that also do it, it's not like you all just keep going faster and faster and faster, right? So no, I very rarely find it.
Mhm.
Very rarely. I found one person with a growth mindset in Hays, Kansas that I'm friends with. That is relatively my age, and I say that because she's 23, so she's still 4 years older than me. And yeah, so it's very hard. It's very difficult. It's not something that you find in the grocery store, at a bar. It's just not something that you find walking down the street in the store anywhere. So, and if you do, like that's the 1%, right? So if you find each other in the store and things like that, that's the 1%. But you have to be actively seeking it out to find someone also in the same mindset.
And I think it's, to me, it's so much better to have, you know, less than 5 people that are similar mindset and build you up than 20 that are just like, not really, they don't understand you, or, you guys are all just muddling around in life. Is it better to have 5 people that build you up
Mhm.
and push you to be better, or 20 that just are like, yeah, you can just do whatever? I'm I am now in the school of thought that I'd much rather have one or two or three really good friends that push me to be better every day than 20 that either drag me down or really do
Yeah,
nothing.
it's lonely,
Hmm.
incredibly lonely. Like, um, something, but it's also something that I've now found a lot of power in, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm looking back a year ago, like I was going to the gym with 3 people, right? Now it's
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
Why is it one? Like, you have to think about that.
Hmm.
So who of all those three, like now it's one. We're down to one. That's that's something that I take a lot of pride in, that I'm the one.
Hmm.
So right, so 66% of that group failed. But the difference is they don't get back up. They failed, and then here's the next thing. Um, I can go to church alone. How many people can do that? No,
Hmm.
not very many. I can go to the grocery store alone. Especially at 19 years old, this is huge, right? I don't have to have a friend with me to go get dinner. I don't have to do, I can do everything alone. And it's something that's very, I can travel alone. I can do
Hmm.
all these things alone. I don't need someone. If I
Hmm.
want someone, I'll put you in my life, but I don't need anyone, right? So, like it's a mentality of I can do everything. I can do everything with God, but God allows me to do everything alone. He gives me the strength to do everything alone. I don't need to rely on anyone else. And so if you're in my life, it's because I have chosen for you to be in my life.
Hmm. Yeah. And you're never alone because you do have God there to
Yes.
help
But
you.
but what I mean is I don't. So being a 19-year-old girls actually drive me so flippin' crazy because what do we need to do? We need to have our best friend to walk to class. Oh, we need to have our best friend to go to the grocery store. Oh, we need to have the best friend to go to Sonic together. Oh my God, I can't go to the gym if I don't have someone else there. Why do we do all these things? Why do we need someone else? Why? Why
Yeah.
is it so scary? No one cares. Now, you being a 44-year-old, or not, you're not 44.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now you being a
I'm looking so
51 year
young today.
now you being a 51-year-old, um, that's a lot more common, right? Because you're secure,
Hmm.
you know who you are, all these things. Me being a 19-year-old, it's odd. I
Hmm.
go to the gym and I'm there by 4:58. 4:58 almost every day since the push started. I've been there. Um, and that's odd. Alone. I'm there alone. I don't have accountability partner. At this point, I am my accountability partner. I did have an accountability partner through the push while I was selling. Um, but I don't need an accountability partner anymore to go to the gym. I don't need that right now. Now, I'm really glad when people do check up on me and things like that because you know what it does? It pushes me to be better. But very rarely at the point that I am at. and I don't mean to say this to sound cocky, I am someone else's accountability. I need someone better than me to be my accountability. And at 19 years old, there's not very many people that are doing better than me, like physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually.
Mhm.
So those are the four things that someone needs to either be at the same level or better than you. And I yet to find a person like that in my daily life that's going to hold me accountable in those four things.
Okay, let's touch we started talking about fear and anxiety and how that can play a part in people's lives. Let's dive into that a little bit deeper, Emma. What do you think
Yeah,
people should
so
do?
um like I mentioned earlier, anxiety is created because you're feeding lies to yourself and you're justifying your actions when you know you should be doing better, right? So the quote that I love, and I'm gonna pull it up here real quick on my phone, is the man in the arena. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short and short again, who spends himself in worthy cause, who at best knows in the triumph of the high achievement, and who at his worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. So that is his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And so, why do you think I read that quote to you?
Um, well, I love I love that quote as well. And because I think, you know, the vulnerability that we have to go through in order to really truly find victory. Um, you know, when you play it safe and you only do the things that are safe, you're really not exposing yourself to be vulnerable to really achieve great things. And so um, you have to be vulnerable. But there's so many people that are just on the sidelines and they are watching what we're doing and they are criticizing what we're doing because they they don't have the guts to be the man in the arena, you know. They don't have the guts to be the people that are changing the world. They don't have the guts to chase their dreams. And so, what they want to do is they want to sit back and watch us. And then, when we stumble, like, oh, did you see? Like, she screwed up.
Mhm,
She's not as great as what she says she is. She's a fraud. She's not doing what she should do. But
mhm,
they're not the ones out there doing the shit. They're not the ones trying to figure out how to create great things. They're not the ones out there trying to do something that nobody else has done before.
mhm.
They're not the ones trying to hit their mark on their sales. Like they're just sitting back and hoping that you fail so that they don't look as bad.
Yeah, so what causes stress and anxiety is people that don't know victory nor defeat. When you know neither victory nor defeat, I mean, you're just there. Like, you're not, you're doing the same thing over and over again. And that's why people have a midlife crisis, right? So, because they neither know victory nor defeat. They've done the same thing for the past 20 years, and they only see themselves doing the same thing for the next 20 years. And so that's 40 years of what's the life expectancy? 70, that they've done the same thing day in day out, and that's what creates stress and anxiety because they neither know victory nor defeat. They're doing the same thing, playing it safe. So
Mhm.
they know they know a 40-year-old man who's 40 pounds overweight knows that he could go to the gym, that he could start eating healthier, that he could stop drinking beer every Saturday night with his same high school buddies, that he could. But that's why he has this panic attack at 45 years old, because he knows he could, but he hasn't. And he's going to continue not to. But so that is why anxiety and stress is created. And that's a classic example is a midlife crisis.
Mhm.
And then in women, they start having anxiety a lot younger, right?
Mhm.
So we look at, I mean, now it's like girl power, right? Like girl power is like the thing, like man eater mentality. And I feed right into it. Like I'm like, I'll eat you for lunch. Like if you don't, like, I'm intimidating to a lot of people, not because I'm an intimidating person, but I'm intimidating to someone that also doesn't have goals and um, boundaries and standards and all these things. So women at the age of probably 14 could fall to the same trap that anxiety is as well. So, like, they can fall to anxiety when they see that there's other women in better shape, right? There's other women with more clear skin. There's other women with all these things. And then but do they choose to take action upon that? Because women are much deeper thinkers, much younger, and that's very clear. Like that studies have shown that women think more deeply into things at a younger age, and that men don't until later. That's why men are more likely to have a midlife crisis than a woman. And so women they start to become more insecure at a younger age just because they tend to think deeper about the things that they are doing or what they are not doing, right? So as a woman at when I was a junior in high school, I was a very insecure person, right? I was doing all these things. I was not eating right. I was not exercising. But as a junior in high school, I made the choice to lose 30 pounds, right? That's a notch in my belt. That gives me confidence. I now know that I'm a healthy person, and I made the conscious decisions to lose 30 pounds, which is not easy, right? That also gives me the confidence that I can execute, that I can finish things, that I'm strong. That also gives me the confidence that um, I am someone that I want to say, I mean, just finishes things. I can do things and I am strong throughout the process. I'm a disciplined person, right? So that's, I think, why we're tending to see more um, anxiety in women at a younger age. It's because we think deeper and we understand the things that we could be doing but aren't from a younger age. And men don't see that until much later in life, right? So that's why you have insecure men at 30, 40 years old, right? That's why you start to see some divorces and things like that happening at that age. Because they men, they think about things, they don't really think about things. That's how I should put it. They're like, I'm doing my life, I'm gonna go kick ass, da 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 da. Well, like, or they don't go kick ass and they just go, I'm just gonna do what everyone else does, right? I'm just gonna go do what everyone else does. Like, I'll be fine. That's why you see that at 30, 40, 50 years old. It's because like that has now clicked in their brains that they could have done all these things, but they've chosen not to. But there's a reason why anxiety and stress and all these problems are more prevalent in women is it's because we are just made and we think deeper at a much younger age. So we
Well,
have
and I think, yeah,
options.
I think society too, like society puts a lot of pressure on women to kind of be the ones to take care of a lot of stuff, to be the glue to hold the family together, to be, to
Yeah,
be
especially for your generation.
yeah,
Right.
we were definitely expected to be like flying around like Superwoman, to take care of the kids, to go do your job, to come home, take care of everything at home, and not expect there to be, you had to do it all. And
And so for my generation now, what I am seeing is it's almost becoming reverse, right? Like the men are now the stay-at-home dads. Stay-at-home dads has never been such a large thing, right? And so women are, it's the man-eater mentality, like, I'll go make the money. I am the one of the house, right?
Mhm.
And so what has happened now that we have that. So yes, the woman was expected to do all these things in your generation. And
Mhm.
so it's always evolving. And so now men are also never softer than they ever have been. If you look at the people that go to the gym every day, it's a higher percentage of women than men, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
The women exercise and eat healthy on a regular basis more often than men do.
My other thought on stress and anxiety and how high that is, I feel like part of that is also a lack of faith. Like even
Yes, I
when you
agree.
when you talk to Christian people and when they talk about stress and anxiety, I feel like that's not really truly uh living the way God intended us to. Like if we do have a lot of stress and anxiety, we're really truly not handing things over to God.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's really got to look at, okay, if I am truly living the life that God wants me to live, and I'm truly studying his word and being the Christian he wants me to be, I shouldn't be stressed about things and I shouldn't have anxiety about things because I am not truly believing that God is going to do what he intends to do. And so I think, if you do have a lot of stress and anxiety in your life, are you really truly leaning on your faith? Um,
Yeah,
and
so stress and anxiety is common, it's not normal.
right. Yep.
So it's common because we have allowed it to be common. We've built a culture around stress and anxiety. We've developed drugs around stress and anxiety, but it's not normal.
Mhm.
Um, you have to so unwavering faith is something that's developed in yourself and within God.
Mhm.
But it is developed when you're doing the hard things every day, when you're disciplined, when you're doing all these things that allow you to have unwavering faith. So, someone who um, I see go to church that may be very overweight, they actually don't have unwavering faith, right? They don't have unwavering faith in themselves. There's so many different areas that we could be struggling. And I'm very glad they're going to church, right? So, because they are developing themselves in one area, which is also going to help them create unwavering faith in themselves, right? So, like, there's someone at the gym who's very overweight, but I give them a fist bump every morning. Why do I give them a fist bump every morning? Because I want to help develop the unwavering faith and power within themselves. I hope to see them at church too.
Mhm. Mhm.
right? I hope to see them absolutely crush it. I hope to that for them that they're gonna come tell me how great they just kicked butt in their job the day before. I hope they tell me they went and got a promotion because of how well they were performing, right? Because
Mhm.
like I mentioned earlier, when we're exercising that muscle of discipline, it doesn't just show up in one area. It shows up in every area.
Mhm.
So they have started to exercise their muscle of discipline in the gym, and it's
Mhm.
now the 15th, and they started the New Year's. So they've already made it past the New Year's resolutions, people, right?
Mhm.
They've already made it past them. So that there's one notch in their belt. Good
Mhm.
job. We're gonna give you a fist pump. Like, awesome. So glad to see you in here. And you need to tell them how glad you are to see them in there, right? Excited to have you here. I'm excited to have you as a member of my gym. I'm excited to have you as a member of my church. I'm excited to have you as an employee.
Mhm.
Gratitude is something that no one hears enough of. And you,
Mhm.
a lot of times, this, like, no one feels grateful for me. Well, no one appreciates me. Give what you need. Give
Yeah.
what you need. You have to give what you need in order to get it.
Mhm.
You have to understand that in order to get what you want to hear, sometimes you have to give what you need.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point of, helping build that person up, whether it's you go and you say, I don't know if you'd feel comfortable saying, "Hey, can I say a little prayer for you?" And like, say, "Thank you, God, for bringing this person to the gym. Help them, maintain strength and discipline to keep coming and to find um, ways to help this bleed over into other parts of their life, give them the strength and the discipline in their job, in their daily life. And, I think that's us as fellow Christians, fellow people wanting to build others up, like somehow going to that person and being that encouragement and making sure that they can hear it and not just being that critic that's sitting outside of the arena watching, oh yeah, okay, that person that's overweight, yeah, they fell off the exercise wagon, they're not coming anymore, they didn't have the discipline. Let's try to encourage people instead of being the ones on the sideline,
Yeah.
just watch.
Yep. And like yesterday I slept in. It was the first day of my put that I did not have a push. And I slept in. You know what that person told me this morning? I didn't see you yesterday.
Mm. Yeah,
Like, there's
that's
a different
awesome.
level of accountability, right? Like,
Yep, yep.
so, and then I was like, oh, yep, I slept in. Like, I didn't want to get up, right? And, but they're doing so many things. If they're at the gym at the same time as me, they're 1%, right?
Mhm.
Because I every day I'm there at 4:58, 4:58, 4:58. And I like um what my sixth grade history teacher, Mr. Gary Meyer, he always said there's a method to my madness. And the reason he said that is because he executes so many daily habits that made him a great leader, right? So he's a teacher and he's in one of the most influential positions that he can be in someone's life. And I can still talk about him and say, there's a method to my madness. And he said that, and I'm a sophomore now in college.
Mhm.
So I don't know how many years that is because I'm not good at math. But he said that, right? And I remember that. He's in an influential position. Like, I'm in an influential position. We're all in influential positions and we don't even realize it. I give
Mhm.
that person a fist bump. That makes them excited to see me. When they get
Mhm.
excited to see me at the gym, they get excited to go to the gym.
Mhm.
When they
Mhm.
get excited to go to the gym, they're gonna go every day.
Mhm.
There's all a correlation right there, right? Like when I'm a warm, inviting person,
Mhm.
but there's also a line of boundaries that you do have to draw when you start to become someone that's warming and inviting because there's certain levels of it all.
Yeah. But I don't think we shouldn't be afraid to encourage others. Um,
Be a
be-
cheerleader.
yep, exactly. Miss Emma,
Good.
I think this has been a great conversation, and
Yeah,
I
I'm pretty great.
yes, you are pretty great. So I'm really glad we took the time to do this. Congratulations on your very successful push period. You are going to get an award in Chicago at the end of this month for it. So super proud of you as I am always, even if you go out and fall flat on your face, I'm proud of you because you've been trying. And so, as a mom, that's just the thing that you do. You're proud of your kid, but you've been knocking out of the park and with not only your sales and Cutco and the things that you do there, but also decisions that you've made in your life to set your life up for more success. And so very, very proud to say I'm your mom. With that, I'm going to end with let your health and your discipline be the pivot point to your success. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend.